Good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part 2 of our series on human resource management. That's right, this is unit number 7 if you're in class here with us. And if you're online watching this is part 2, so make sure that you watch part 1. And if you by chance stumbled across this video because you're in my 8th grade course and you found my YouTube channel, or if you just stumbled across this and you're on the general interweb, well then it would always be beneficial to go back and review part 1 before checking out part 2. Because part 2 is self-contained, but it deals with the concepts that have already been developed on part 1. All right, so let's go ahead and get this thing started. So human resource management terms, all right? Terms. It's the term that we use, or the word we use here in the business lab, all right? I don't like the word vocabulary, okay? And I understand, hey, in school we're developing our vocabulary, and in middle school we're increasing our vocabulary knowledge, and that's fine, right? But in the business world we use the word terms, okay? These are terms you should be familiar with, all right? Not to be confused with contractual terms, which means the things that must take place in order for you to have something happen, all right? So let's keep moving. Alrighty, so HRM terms, the first thing that we should be getting into is benefits. All right, so we talked about in the last section that benefits are anything that is done beyond or for a benefit or a gain, okay? In fact, let me just pull that slide up real fast. There you go. Is a payment or a gift made by an employer, the state, or an insurance company, an advantage or profit gained from something, all right? So we're going to look at benefits in this slide, and there are several different benefits and business might offer. Now, do all businesses offer these types of benefits? Absolutely not. Each business is different. It really depends on the size of the business. It depends on what they're in, so on and so forth, okay? So each business is different. You may not get these, but these are things that if you're an entrepreneur, you might want to start thinking about offering your employees, okay, especially as you start to grow. And then if you're a larger business, then these are things that need to be honed in on and maybe focused on as a reason to keep your employees working there, okay? So here we go. Insurance, all right? Yes. Insurance is something that sounds boring, but is very, very, very important in the world of human resource management. In other words, the human resource manager will go ahead and establish the basic benefit plans or insurance plans for the benefit of its employees. Okay? Again, each business is different. Now, I wish there was a one-size-fits-all insurance program out there, but there isn't. Okay? There's not one-size-fits-all because, let's be honest, Mr. C's needs as individual is different than, say, like my sister's needs, who has a family of multiple, okay? And her needs are different than my other sister, who has different financial obligations, so on and so forth. So different needs, different age of children, so on and so forth, right? Each person is different. So it's always good to offer multiple types of benefits, all right? Yeah, a little awkward, weird thingy there. Sorry about that. All right, so insurance. Here we go. Life insurance. Life insurance is a benefit that pays a sum of money on the death of the insured person or after a set period. Okay, life insurance is something that you get in the event that you die. Okay, usually by natural causes. Okay, or accidental causes. Each insurance policy and each program is different, all right? But it's something that is typically offered by people, all right, and by businesses, okay? And then how much does that cost each month? The cool thing is, if you're a business, the employee pays part of the cost for these benefits, and then you pay part of the cost, all right? It's part of the game, all right? Health insurance. I want to focus on this one, all right? Health insurance. These are benefits that pay for medical I'm sorry, I used that or I don't like using those. It should be medical and surgical or both expenses, all right? Medical visits and checkups. I'm sorry for the or, that's poor writing on my behalf, all right? So that includes medical, dental, and vision, all right? Medical, dental, and vision. All right, so let's pretend this happens, all right? Horrible story, but we're going to use it anyways, all right? Let's pretend Mr. C is driving along, right? And remember that tornado that came through a few months back? Well, if you're watching this video a few months afterward, it doesn't matter. But let's just say Mr. C was driving along, had no idea a tornado was coming through, right? And as it was coming through, it came right in the road in front of him, and he didn't see it till last minute because of all the trees that were around. And then it knocks over a tree, and Mr. C hits it with his truck, flips his truck over. Uh-oh, that's horrible, right? Well, any injuries that I would incur from that accident, all right, I don't have to pay 100% out of pocket out of that because I am insured. In other words, I only pay a small portion, and the insurance company covers the rest, all right? I pay for that service, all right? Additionally, the benefit of being an employee here in Columbia County, right, is they also pay part of the expenses, all right? And our insurance plan is pretty good, okay? So they cover the medical expenses related to that accident, okay? We could also choose dental coverage because in America, we like good teeth, good clean teeth. So regular cleanings and visits and so on and so forth are covered, as well as these things. Yes, Mr. C wears glasses and occasionally contacts, right? So I have vision coverage to help with those costs to replace these, repair regular visits to make sure that my eyes haven't changed that much. All right. So various insurance coverages might be offered. All right. They might also offer disability coverage. Okay. So let's say I get in that accident and it turns out I cannot return to work for a set period of time. All right. Let's just say more than 3 months. All right. But less than 6. All right. Well, after I use up all my sick time, right, I might be able to utilize short-term disability or disability coverage, okay? That means for a short period of time, I get reimbursed. Not for the full pay that I normally get, but a portion of the pay just to cover my bills and my expenses, right? And now, if that accident occurs in a long term, right, in other words, greater than 90 days or 6 months, depending on the coverage, right, then they would also cover me for that time period. Then when I'm ready to return to work, I can come to work as normal, right? So I'm not in bad of a financial spot because I get in that accident, okay? That's if I can't return, okay? So use your imagination on what could happen for that, all right? And then, of course, they might also various investment opportunities in the business. Usually, like stock purchasing, if you're in the private business world, 401ks, 403bs, mutual funds, pension plans, and there's also employee-owned companies like Publix. We're not going to get into that because that's not an investment discussion, but they might also offer those benefits on top of usual pay. All right. So you got insurance with life insurance and health insurance. You got medical, dental, and vision. You got disability coverage and investment opportunities. All right. Those are various benefits that might be offered. All right. So be familiar with which ones those are. All right. Additional responsibilities. All right. We got another graphic chart here. Human resources and human resource management might also be responsible for these following areas. Again, just like the other areas we saw in the previous video, this adds to that because these are things in a business that might be overseen by human resources management. Okay. Obviously, we got payroll. In other words, how do people get paid? All right. How do you ensure that if someone's getting paid by the hour, that the information is being clocked correctly? Okay. And then how do you ensure that they get the proper amount of pay and the proper amount of taxes taken out and the proper amount applied towards their sick time and their vacation time, so on and so forth. All right. You got recruiting. In other words, getting people to come and know about your business to apply for the business. All right. You got training. Once they're on the business, how do you train them to know what the business wants? Do you just assume that people know what to do when they get there, or do you train them? Each business is different, and each business has their own standards. You got insurance and benefits. We just talked about that. So you might be planning those insurance and business benefits out and paying those and so on and so forth. You got performance management. This is a big one. When you got good employees, how do you give raises? Do you give raises? How do you give reviews? Do you do reviews? All right, is it an annual review? Is it a quarterly review? Is it a 3-month review? How is that process handled? Okay, performance management. Or is there a commission or a bonus for something good that was done or meeting certain objectives or goals, etc.? All right, performance management. You've got organization change. In other words, let's say a business comes in and buys another business. All right, they're going to work closely with human resources to make sure that that handover, that transition is handled properly, because human resources will usually be part of the executive board or the executive branch, right? You also have policy informed publications. Bigger businesses have policies. All right, so example. If someone doesn't show up to work after 5 days What's the usual assumption? How do you handle that? Do people just quit sometimes like that? Yes. Okay. How do you handle that? Do you immediately revoke? Do you try contacting? What do you try doing? Or if somebody shows up late constantly, do you fire them right after the first instance? Not at all. You try to coach towards the correct course of action. Usually 3 times. Hey, if it's consistent running late, maybe we need to figure out the problem here. That's where problem solving skills come in, right? And then form publications such as if somebody wants to claim sick time or somebody wants to claim vacation time or request time off, how do they do that? How do they make that happen? Organization surveys. This is really huge, okay? How do people feel about working for the group? Do they send out a survey? You guys see surveys all the time, right? What do those surveys do? Those surveys inform the people that make the decisions so that they can make correct decisions in the way things are going, okay? You've got employee surveys. In other words, it's surveying the employees and the customers and so on and so forth. You got newsletters and polls, okay? Why do we do a Falcon newsletter? To inform your parents and you about what's going on. Businesses do the same thing. They give out newsletters to inform people about certain events going on in the business. Now, that's for bigger businesses, not necessarily smaller businesses, okay? But newsletters, polls, what do people want, and then, of course, maybe even events, okay? Are you going to have a carnival? Are you going to have a Christmas party? What are you going to do? Where's it going to be? How are you going to host it? All right? Those kinds of things. And then, of course, you got self-service management systems. In other words, do employees come to you for something and put the form in directly with human resources, or can they go online and make those requests online as needed? All right. So those are the things that they look at. All right. Now, the career pathway. Focus in on this. Now, if you like what you're hearing so far, right, then you might be interested in the career path for human resource management. All right. So yes, you can get a job in human resources with a simple high school diploma or a graduate equivalent diploma, okay? You can get into human resources with a 2-year technical degree. You could work as an assistant. You could work as labor relations. With the bachelor's degree, you start really getting into the more higher responsibilities of the business. So you're working at maybe as a specialist or in training and development, developing those things for human resources. If you have a master's, an MBA, or an advanced degree, you can get in actuarial sciences or even work as a human resource manager, all right? And you can see that chart there, all right? So again, human resource assistants, that's usually lower level responsibilities, but you're still helping people out. You're getting your foot in the door, okay? With the technical degree, you got labor relations and specialists. You got bachelor's degree, you got human resource specialist, training and development, and of course, actuaries and human resource managers. Now, actuaries, I want you to let you know that actuaries are people who make calculations and forecasting based off of current known information and predict what will be going on in the future. That's more mathematical, okay? But very important part of the business itself, or it might be a contracted service. In most cases, actuaries are contracted out to other businesses, all right? So, if you like what you hear so far and you're like, man, I really like the sound of working in human resources because you're dealing with people and making decisions, and I consider myself a good people person, what are some other qualities of people in human resource management? Well, here you go, all right? Let's first talk about this little funny over here, right? First of all, communication skills is really big. And I'm not talking just communication skills in the form of creating words and creating dialogue with somebody, okay? I'm talking about how to overcome certain communication skills as well. Example, you got a gentleman right here who's talking to another employee. He says, I'm inviting you to my seminar on improving your communication skills. If you'd like to attend, grunt once for yes, twice for no. That's grunt once for yes, twice for no. And if you ever met this employee, you're kind of like, yeah. All right, real quick pause. All right, I'm going to be right back. All right, quick change. This is a trash can. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen these before. They usually hold and fill things that are unwanted after use, such as meat stick wrappers, such as old cans of soda, and crumpled up papers, all right? So I once was working as a manager at Lake City, right? And our janitor that night had neglected to check one of the trash cans. So one of my salespeople came up to me and looked at the trash can and went, I'm like, yes, that's a pretty trash can. He's like, Like, it's a full trash can? He's like, "Argh," because it was overflowing. He didn't really communicate. Why is he in sales? He can't communicate? I don't know. But he was looking at it and grunting. And I was like, what do you want me to do about it? And he was like, "Argh." I'm like, no, I'm not going to take it out. Trash can's over there. Do it. All right. And trash bags, I'll get you a trash bag. Okay. And he was unhappy about it because he thought the janitor was responsible to do that. Right. And he just communicated in grunts. All right. Why are you working in sales if you're communicating in grunts, dude? All right. So on that note, that's overcoming a situation, right? And trying to figure out what's trying to be communicated, right? So there you go. All right. So personnel qualities here. Let's see here. If I get this click again, you're going to have great interpersonal skills or soft skills. Remember what those are. Those are the things that you know it when you see it, but you can't really measure it. Okay. Such as being a leader, good communication skills, being prompt, timely, well organized, that sort of thing, right? You're going to have a knowledge of staffing laws and regulations. Okay. That is really important. Okay. How do you know if you have an employee who's 16 years old, how are they treated differently on the hours of their availability compared to the person who's 18? When can the 16-year-old work? When can the 18-year-old work? Okay. When can somebody who's over 18 work? What's the difference between them being enrolled in school and not enrolled in school? All right. Each place needs to figure that out. Okay. There's rules and laws in regards to that. Okay. They're going to have top-notch business soft skills, great interpersonal skills, top-notch business soft skills. You're going to have good negotiating skills, all right? Yes, it's kind of hard to negotiate with somebody, all right? But don't think of it as going in and trying to buy a car for $500 when you know it's worth $1,000. Okay, that's not the negotiating skills I'm talking about, okay? I'm talking about, like, if you're dealing with a board of people who are demanding certain things, how are you going to find a compromise, okay? And, of course, an understanding of employment benefits and how benefits work. That is really, really important for the world of human resource management. Alrighty? And so that brings me to the next few questions here. You're just going to give me a list of true and false. And you're going to go back to the different types of health insurance coverage areas because we talked about it. And then, of course, you got some fill in the blank. And the final one is some additional soft skills not listed in the slide that you think might be important for a human resource manager. You can't look that up, okay? You just got to think about it, okay? There is no slide that tells you that. Remember, critical thinking skills, all right? So I will leave you with that. Thank you for watching this series, and we will leave it at that.